Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a Premier League presentation bringing you guys a game between Evil Geniuses and Mouse Sports Best of One Series, part of the TPL Season 5 Reaver Cup. Here, this is the semifinals, seeing who is going to be advancing on forward to face Alliance in the Grand Finals, and the other will be taking on TD Dota in the 3rd/4th place decider. So, interesting Dota so far. Evil Geniuses taking away well over 86-minute long game. And, yeah, that was a doozy. But going on to this one, hopefully we'll be a little bit more compact in the action, but certainly going to be an awesome one nevertheless. So, once again, I am Blaze. Here, co-casting with me is Triumph of Man. What's going on?
Hey, yeah, well, we'll see Evil Genius, see if they can make this one stretch to 120 minutes. Maybe, maybe not. Now, EG, they're going to leave Lifesteal in the pool. I think this is mostly because, obviously, they have first pick here, and they'll try and snag him up if they can. That said, of course, Mouse Sports would be likely to ban it. Or, I mean, they could, in fact, go for the Batrider instead if they're more worried about that. Now, I just want to see whether or not EG, I mean, obviously they run a lot of Lifesteal. The question is whether or not they put Bambo or if they put Jo on the Lifestealer more than anything else. So if they put Jo on the Lifestealer, then he's probably going to be defensive try. But if they put Bambo on the Lifestealer, assuming they pick it up here, to do the first pick, no, it will be a Batrider instead, so we'll probably see a Demon Batrider. I was going to say, if they put Bambo on the Lifestealer, he would have been an offensive try, but Mouse Sports instead go, you know what, well, you can have Batrider, we'll take the Lifestealer and the Lone Druid as well. So I'm expecting some ability heroes to come out from Mouse Sports to follow up as well, just to make the Lifestealer more efficient.
So, yeah, a lot of potential with that. What Mouse Sports actually likes to do with the Lone Druid Lifesteal composition is run an aggressive tri lane. I believe actually, I mean, it should be Black, yeah, picking that one up, and then Quakewa can pick up the Lone Druid there. But he can actually run it on the safe lane there, guarantee some good farm, despite the fact that they're up against the Bane. And then they can be in a great position to just do amazing pressure in this tri lane. However, there are still heroes like the Keeper of the Light on the field, and Bane plus an individual like that could really bring the herd on when it comes down to tri versus tri. But right now, Evil Geniuses, Demon was doing work on the Templar Assassin at some stages of the game, at least, more so than others. But either way, picking it up once again, they're going to try to make an impact on the map through the use of that mid lane. And then, of course, Batrider will be running on the off lane / jungle, picked up by Bambo.
Yeah, we'll see where he decides to roll with that one. Shadow Demon also being picked up by Mouse Sports. Decent pick up there, of course. Can help manage to save, or can help save someone from, obviously, the Fiend's Grip, the Batrider. Just get them out of trouble. That said, though, of course, Lifesteal need to be careful about the Rage, because if he rages up and then gets jumped by Bane or Batrider, it's going to really limit what Shadow Demon can do to get him out of trouble. So, need to watch out for that. Clockwork going to be banned out by Mouse Sports as well. Clockwork, of course, really powerful, as we saw last match. In fact, the Clockwork was just jumping on top of the Lifesteal, cogging him in, and then force-stamping his way out. Very effective in locking down the Lifesteal and just keeping him out of their face. Now, Magnus going to be the 4th ban there from EG. Sand King also being banned out by Mouse Sports, obviously watching last game. SK did get in some good stuns. He was fairly effective, but that said, I think a lot of the damage was coming out from the Templar Assassin. She was real. I feel like Demon last match was the driving force behind EG's lineup, as well as, of course, Jo getting super farm there on his Lifesteal on top of that.
Yeah, couldn't agree with you more there. In this position, though, I think they have the tools to control Templar Assassin. She's not that mobile without like going for a blink or high movement speed build. So Shadow Demon, locking her down with the Demonic Purge, the Entangle possibly, can really limit how active Templar Assassin can be in the midst of an engagement, unless you get a really good lasso setup so that she can just freely right-click away. Nevertheless, yeah, I think it's good to take out those heroes that can be very frustrating. The slow going on through Magic Community from the Epicenter and, of course, the Cogs and that kind of lockdown there. I think Mouse Sports banning those out is going to set it up so that they don't have to worry about them in a supportive sense. They wouldn't have had to worry about them in a solo sense, but if they want to keep right-clicking away, they don't want anything more than the Batrider and the Bane really locking them down. Of course, Evil Genius is still probably going to draft up some Disable, but maybe some that aren't as effective against the Rage Snakes or the Lone Druid Bear. So in that sense there, they're just going to try to stay active with what they have and make sure they play the dual core to its fullest. Whereas Evil Geniuses still looking for their carry, and that's where the Weaver ban comes on in, is that they Evil Geniuses could easily be looking for a lot of physical damage coming on through. The Weaver is really like hardcore physical damage with the Gemini, and that synergizes well with the Meld, as well as the Swarm that he sends on out there to make sure the negative armor stays active there. So I really think that it was a good ban to take out the Weaver, but I'm not sure if it's Evil Genius's main threat right now. They want to go for something that just right-clicks very hard, and we'll have to see exactly what they end up going with here.
I'm just wondering if EG had a bad experience with Storm recently. They've been banning out Storm fairly consistently here, and 2 games in a row they've just sort of last banned it there straight away. That said, I think maybe it's just they don't want. Well, I don't know if they don't want the TA facing up against it in mid. That might be a bit of the issue there. Of course, Storm can be very frustrating to face up against with his overload spam there. But now the next pick here for Evil Geniuses, they're probably looking for their next support as well. Well, as well as their primary farmer, I guess. JO still needs a hero. They haven't really picked up one for him so far, so they're looking for the primary farmer along with the extra support, which will be Visage. And of course, we saw exactly how nasty Visage can be if he gets a little bit of farm. And Come With Me, I'm going to give a shout out to Come With Me from last match. He really did cause a ton of damage. When Void was down, it was Come With Me holding the line with his Visage. He really kept things in check with that early Arcanum Scepter, as they're just chaining those stuns one after the other with the minions. That said, fourth pick here for Mouse Sports. What do you think they're going to go for, Blaze?
It's really hard to call at this stage, but I think they need some good follow-up, a Leshrac or a Lina. I prefer Leshrac in this sense because Templar Assassin's Refraction. Actually going for the solo pickup for right now. They'll go with the support last. I guess they have a couple different options, so it's not as high priority. But yeah, they definitely had the potential to go for maybe a Leshrac, and Edict could take away through Refraction, and then of course do a lot of push in synergy with that Lone Druid there. So that could have been interesting. I've also seen support, as weird as it sounds, support of Juggernaut work well in this kind of a lineup here, because they do have the disruption and the open wounds to set it up so that he can just go for spin and healing ward. But I'm not sure if that would have been the kind of lineup they're going for, especially not now that they have this Beastmaster, who is going to be kind of setting the tone for their ganking mindset. He has some good range on the roar. He's going to be able to just kind of single somebody out, and that's going to be where they're going to be at. So Alchemist does come on through. It's kind of in the back of my head as far as something that Joe could pick up here. And it has the survivability through his ultimate to deal with getting roared up by the Beastmaster, but I still think it's going to be something that whoever plays Beastmaster, I assume Fata, is going to be happy to throw out there.
I mean, of course, the other big advantage is the fact that between Meld and the Acid Spread, so again,
Sure.
a lot of negative armor coming out, and it's really going to help drill down the Lone Druid as well as the Bear as well. The negative armor super effective in that early stage of the game, but now the Beastmaster being picked up from Mouse Sports, I think it was the right choice because no more bands left, and Evil Geniuses, they've already picked up the two supports, so they don't really have to worry about the last support that they want being picked off, so they can just leave it till their fifth pick. But we'll see what they decide to go for. I do agree the Leshrac would fit in there quite nicely. Would give them a bit of push power as well. You got the Beastmaster there as well with the Aura, can help the creeps just work away at the tower a little bit faster. And of course the Refraction Chart is very helpful against that. That said, still kind of squishy, and still does want a little bit of farm to stay in the match there, because otherwise he's going to get burst down very quickly by Templar Assassin or just pulled out of position by Batrider or Bane. So just need to keep that in mind. That said, I think they will want some firepower here because they're going to need to shut down this Alchemist. If they let him farm, he is going to cause a lot of trouble, especially if he picks up that early Shadow Blade. It's just going to cause so much pressure on Mouse Spots. They're not going to know where to find space to farm without risking being ganked by Alchemists.
Yeah, Shadow Blade plus Basher would be a really, really good counter for Alchemist to go up against the Life, so they're giving him some attack speed, and then, of course, reducing his base attack time with his ultimate. But we do see the Hero Light making it all the way through to the end, and honestly, a great pickup for them here. They might be less comfortable running it in an aggressive tri-lane because just familiarity, generally speaking, as Laura is more commonly seen in that defensive one. But Cinderin is a very, very flexible player who has played Keeper Light time and time again. Like when he was standing in for people, like every other team, he would just pick up Keeper Light every game and just say, hey, hand that to me, I can do a lot with it. And yeah, I'm assuming that's exactly what they intend to do. On top of that, really like Blinding Light up against Templar Assassin and Alchemist, and I guess the Familiars too, but mostly just the TA and Alch. Just making sure that they will miss a lot of their right clicks, setting up so that Life Shield Lone Druid can win the auto attack battles.
Just buy them some more time to get some of those bashes in there, but we'll see where they decide to lane this. I mean, obviously we saw earlier just a dual lane with basically allowing Clockwork to get to work. That said, though, I don't think it'll happen this game just because... wait a minute, hang on a minute. It looks like Fata usually takes the mid, does he not? It looks like we might actually have a solo mid Beastmaster here.
Yeah, that's what I was actually looking at there. Most likely the Lone Druid will go on the solo lane. I would say safe lane would probably be the best place for in this position if they want, as long as they're cool with running these three as an aggressive try. And then yeah, I believe I was entirely expecting Fata to go on the mid there. He's not the best if you count him 1 versus 1, going directly up against the. Interesting. They put Demon... Yeah, Temple Assassin, sorry. Lost my train of thought there. But anyways, going up against the Temple Assassin, he's not the best option. But really, he's just going to try to make sure that his farm is rather independent, using Axis the last hit and maybe try to control runes. His boar can do a lot of work up against Demon as well. So, in general, he's not going to have the best time in the lane. I mean, he's not going to kill TA by any standpoint, but he is going to be able to get some farm for himself. And I think that's his main objective there, is just to get an early bottle and maybe start roaming when he hits level 6.
Yeah, start roaming, get that blink dagger, and just allow him to start initiate. I mean, he could even just go. I mean, if he really wants to. I really miss seeing the Necro book, Beastmasters. I don't think we see enough Necro book these days. I really love the item, and it can cause a lot of havoc, just losing all that mana. Of course, the feedback. That said, they don't have that much AoE, so it might not be that helpful in this case. Obviously, the feedback from the last will really painful. Now, the bear going to head up top straight away. They're going to get a bit of creep jacking done early on. In fact, looks like Lone Druid's just going to sit in the fountain here in case. I think just in case he loses a bear. I don't think he's going to get a lot done though, because I mean, you're up against a Bane. All he's got to do is Nightmare the Bear, and suddenly there's no creep jacking for you.
Yeah, that's what.
It's possibly a bit of a wasted endeavor.
Yeah, that's the exact reason that I thought that he should go safe lane. They should go try versus try, is because if they Nightmare the Bear, he cannot pull the creep wave back, and if that's the case, then yeah, Koiko was wasting his time really. So he is going to try to make it work, but I'm assuming that Abidas will be active enough to make sure it's not going to be an option here. And I think it's mostly the reason that he's moving it around in this regard is just to scout it out and make sure that it is going to be a tri-lane up top, because it's not out of the question for evil geniuses to actually go bottom themselves. So kind of letting them head down that direction, and going to scout out the rune here, and it looks like it's just going to spawn on bottom for them either way. So Mouz going to start off with the haste rune on Sidrun. Could be nice for them up against Bambo, who's apparently trying to go for the offlane. Very ambitious, but with the boots of speed, he might be able to survive long enough, even though he is up against that Disruption Illuminate combo.
I think he'll probably just say screw it and end up jungling,
Sure.
to be dead honest. There we go, he's already backing off. And I mean, Lone Druid's done the exact same thing. He said this is not going to happen, and it's just gone straight to the jungle. So he'll just, I mean, right now, Mouse Sports, they're going to sort of transitioning to a fairly greedy lineup, but I don't think it was their first intention. Like you said, he was scouting, looking to see whether or not that top lane was doable for him, and in the end, it's not going to be. So he's just going to take the jungle. I mean, he'll get plenty of farm here. At the same time, though, he's going to surrender a lot of farm to the Alchemist. The question is how passive that Jared decides to play this Alchemist. Does he want to farm a ton, or will he actually just get maybe an early level in Greevil's Greed, and then go straight for the concoction, just so he can try and set up these fights?
Yeah, that'll be interesting there. And yeah, another thing about Koiko sitting up in the fountain there is he was able to pick up the Quelling Blade immediately as soon as he realized that he was going to transition. So no hesitation there. Immediately picks up some nice percentage-based increase on the bear, increases his rate of farm, and although Lone Druid has a lot of tools to help him on the offlane, his farm is actually pretty incredible in the jungle. Like, he can just completely obliterate those creeps very quickly if he manages it carefully. And we are going to see Fata picking up a couple CS on the mid lane, so that bottle already up and kicking. And honestly, with the 3.5-1-0 setup kind of mirrored on both sides, that means that mid lane is going to be the only one that's directly contested back and forth until the laning phase breaks down.
Yeah, I mean, Demon's going to be fairly careful. He could get jumped quite easily. That said, it looks like Pass and Sinner aren't too interested in putting pressure on him right now. They're saying, you know what, let's just sit in here, get our farm, get our items up and running, and then we'll think about trying to put pressure elsewhere on the map. But I mean, right now, we could be in for a fairly slow game here. Fear's got the exact same plan. Just going to pull, just going to farm, as it looks like we've lost some of the Chinese casters there. Beaters as well, just lots and lots of pulling here, and they're just going to basically end up static farming this. But I mean, going towards the late game, we're going to have Lifestealer and Lone Druid versus the Alchemist and the Templar Assassin. Who's your money on there?
Not too sure, honestly. Back and forth. I mean, there's a lot of potential for the farm rate of the Alchemist really early on. We are talking about how fast he can get his Midas. So I think that there's a lot of potential for him to farm up like crazy. But yeah, it really just depends on how methodical he decides to be up on that top lane and how much rotations there are actually. We were talking about rotating onto the mid, but it's just as easy to smoke up top and kind of catch them by surprise, again, when that Beastmaster hits 6. Right now, he's just going to hold the lane. He's going to burn down Refraction gradually with the boar and try to go in for a little bit of harassment damage there, but most of the time it's just going to be him getting the experience to set himself up for some good gank potential with the boar, and in this case actually pick up a point in Inner Beast as well, so not actually maxing out the axes, and instead just trying to control the lane a little bit and maybe transition into some push once that's up to level 7.
Yeah, this is kind of a Chinese thing to do here. This is the early level, just one level. He'll just go for one in Inner Beast, then he'll get his other spells up and running. And it's just, it adds a lot of early extra DPS as well as the fact it just helps with that push. And I'm going to have to say, my money right now, EG late game, rather hero-wise, I don't know about throw-wise, but we'll see on that. Just because Alchemist, he is going straight for the Greevil's Greed build, and he's going to get an absolute ton of money. I assume we're going to see a Midas get popped out, although he did actually pick up some early boots, so maybe not. I don't know, we'll see then. But the port coming up top, looks like Keeper Light's going to head up here, and it's going to going to try and slow down the push on this tower. He's going to come up and just spam some Illuminates instead. Though, actually, Concoction coming out here. Can Jarrow get within range? Throws it out there. He's got the boot, so he's going to get the distance on it, but decides not to gun for it as he's lost a creep wave for the moment, and he's just going to try and back up a little bit just so he doesn't overextend there. And looks like Keeper's going to have a chance to come forward. He's actually out of mana at the moment, so he won't be able to throw out another Illuminate just yet. So we're going to have a lot of time here for Fear and Beaters and Jarrow to try and work down this tower. But I mean, yeah, going late, well, not so much late, but I think you sort of hit that point at about the 30-minute mark that JO is going to be ahead on items, and they're going to have that opportunity to really try and make something happen, just because of the Grievil's Greed plus possibly a Midas. I mean, he's not buying anything else just yet, so I mean, that could be a Midas next up.
Yeah, it really depends on how aggressive his build goes up. If he's going to go for a Phase Boots, Shadow Blade type gank-oriented build and forgo the Midas, it's 100% dependent on how effective his kill attempts are. If he just gets shut down and maybe even die during gank attempts, then you're not really profiting from that kind of setup. Whereas a Midas, you can guarantee that you're going to be able to get that farm. So I believe he is looking for the Midas. I mean, he does have already 2 points in Grievous Greed, and he's not farmed up anything more than the boots. So pretty much in this position, he could easily buy the recipe, quarry it up, and by the time he gets there, almost be set up for his Gloves of Haste there as well. So I think that if he does go for the Midas, that he definitely has the most potential there. But that being said, the later the game goes, the closer to 12-slot Lone Druid and 6-slot Lifestealer you are. And, of course, Nyx is going to be picking up a Midas even faster, as Black already has the recipe and is only 160 gold off.
No, the race is on. We'll see who grabs it first. That said, JO, 1,600 gold in the bank at the moment. He's getting very, very close indeed. Mid coming up with a bottle there for Dim. In fact, I think he's had this for a little while. He's just been currying it back and forth, obviously having to deal with harassment there from Beastmaster. I think it's also going to come down to how well these supports farm as well. I'm just looking at the supports right now. See, Fear appears to be farming the best, and Keeper, obviously, with the rotation from Syndra, hasn't been getting as much farm, had to go up there, getting harassed a fair bit as well. So I think in the end, the other advantage EG is going to have is that Fear is farming a lot better than the other two supports are on the other team. So that is going to be a fairly big factor. And as we saw, the early Arganims on Visage made a huge difference, plus, of course, the Medallion as well.
So we do see the Midas coming out in full for Jo heading up on the top lane and Medallion up for Visage, as you mentioned. So yeah, this is going to be a very destructive potential if they want to start roaming and putting damage out early. Acid Spray hasn't been ranked up as of yet, but Medallion and Mild can still kind of make their mark there. Demon going to be able to max out his Refraction with his next level, and then should be focusing on Meld after the fact. However, there is that push kind of gearing up on that bot lane. Keeper Light, of course, having a lot of potential to clear the creep wave, and that Tier 1 tower having taken a ton of damage. They fortified to delay the push, but in the end, it will come on through long enough to get this last hit on the tower, and it should go to Black right here if they time it right. Yep. So he is jumping up like crazy on gold per minute. He's actually now at 475 and almost matching the Alchemist, who's got the early points of Grievous Greed, but this could be the game changer here with the Medallion, with the Meld and Refraction. They're going to go in for Roshan, but one thing is Demon doesn't have mana. Magic Wand will give him one more set of Refraction, but I'm not sure if it's enough for him to confidently tank this up. And instead, we just see, yeah, coming on through. There's the bottle, though. That'll help him out quite a bit. Oh, no, it's empty. Never mind. So, in this stage, do you think they could actually finish off the Rosh, or are they just doing a little bit of harassment damage now and have to come back later?
Yeah, I'm honestly surprised that Demon didn't actually get his bottle filled up and go in there with a full charge, or full health, full mana there initially. I should also mention that Black did manage to beat Alchemist to the Midas, which allowed him to catch a little bit of ground there. And obviously the tower's going to help out as well, help him get ahead of the Alchemist. That said, Alchemist, I think ultimately, like we discussed, is going to get ahead just purely because the Grievil's Greed, plus the fact he's got the Midas as well. He's without a doubt going to get ahead, and on top of that, he should have this tower fairly soon as well. I mean, Syndra's only going to be able to hold this off for so long before he gets pushed back eventually. The other thing that's going to help, like you mentioned, obviously the Roshan. I mean, eventually they're going to get this. I think they should be able to get this fairly soon, actually, as long as the bottle comes back out, which means on the way right now, they should have this. And it looks like Fear, I think, is going to go for the same build as... We might not actually go for the Blink Dagger this time. We'll see whether or not he decides to mix and match, because, of course, he doesn't have the Lifestealers. Like, the biggest reason to get the Blink Dagger last match was Lifestealer, but this time around, doesn't have to worry about that. And he does have, assumedly, Blink on the Batrider to set things up for him.
Yep, so that's going to be the main intention there. Another thing to add to the pool is that Lone Druid has picked up a Midas of his own. Koikwa decided to go for that there, just to enhance his gold per minute. They're comparing them directly. Only 219 on that Batrider, whereas 329 is up for that Lone Druid, so he's going to be able to get big very, very quickly. And that means that blink timing. The Batrider has less invested for the later stages of the game because he, of course, doesn't go for a Midas. So that means that he has to make this stage of the game that much more potent. So as soon as the blink comes out, we need to see lasso kills. Otherwise, I definitely think the Lone Druid gives them that edge. Actually, Cinder in a bit of a over-aggressive spot, but it doesn't look like Bane wants to punish him for it just yet.
It looks like they're going to take another run at this Roger. I think something that we didn't really cover about going towards late game and the fact that Alchemist is obviously going to get hit on gold eventually. Something we didn't really think about is the fact that Demon, while Demon's taking that mid roll and he's going to be sort of active and ganking eventually, the thing is Lone Druid's still farming and he did also rush a Midas. So Lone Druid going to start rocketing up in the GPM as well. Still fairly far behind the other heroes, only at 340 gold per minute, but he's going to take a little bit longer to get rolling just because the jungle, like, while he's a pretty good jungler, he doesn't
mid lane
completely blitz things.
We actually do see the roar come out, but it's just to dissuade them from going further. They actually want to try to disrupt and make sure him stun himself, but unfortunately couldn't get that turnaround the way they wanted it to. So looks like just a full disengage. Keeper Light is going to rotate on in. Double damage still active on Beastmaster, getting the slow up on Beatus, but he has that Nightmare and should be able to disengage in full. Wake him up, board. Not going to happen. Instead, there's the surprise. Jack in Box has popped, and we do see Roshan has been dropped down, and Mouz knows it. Now having to make up for a lot of lost ground as they don't have the Golder experience that EG were able to acquire. Actually, looking at the graphs, now, actually, Mouse Sports is very, very far ahead as far as Golden experience, but it's going to dip down a little bit as we see that Roshan take effect.
Yeah, I'm going to say partially the reason that they're ahead there. Obviously, they've had the Lone Druid farming consistently in the jungle. Also, obviously, they took a tower as well, which does help out quite a bit on top in terms of gold per minute for the entire team. That said, Beastmaster has picked up that very early mech. Wow. I mean, this is probably going to give them a fairly good edge in the fights. Visage instead going for that medallion. So I mean, the medallion's nice, but at the same time, the mech is a huge, a huge force multiplier in an early kind of skirmish you try and get stuck into. But that's, I don't know if they're actually going to try and get stuck into early. Well, at least EG probably aren't going to try and combat them that much. EG, I think, more focused on just getting this farm rolling on Alchemist, who 1600 gold in the bank. I'm just wondering, will we see the Shadow Blade first up, or is he just going to do something crazy like Russia Radiance? We'll see.
Yeah, a lot of different options, but I'm curious as well. It's really, really impressive that the Beastmaster has been able to farm so darn well. 53 CS as opposed to the Templar Assassin's 45. In melee versus melee, I figured TA would have such an advantage, but just the gradual pressure of the boar as well as the continuous spam of the axes. And yeah, Fata really, really making magic happen on the mid lane, so setting himself up for such an early mech. And from there, he can pretty much go whatever he wants. Maybe a little bit of increase in his mana pool with Treads or a Soul Ring. And then, of course, he can go for initiation-type things like the Blink Dagger or Aghanim's, or the potential to go and just add in a lot of extra damage with something like a Necronomicon or Drums. So, a lot of different options. Beastmaster, probably one of the heroes that can benefit from just about any item, as far as the ones that add utility anyways. And so, I'm curious to see what he's going to do with his farm next. We do actually see Familiars flanking up behind the Keeper Light. Could be bad for him, juking it around. There's going to be that drop down. Second stun coming on through from Synderen, but just forcing him back a little bit so they can take the tower here. Going on in. They do have the Blink Initiation. They will be able to flame break him back, but a beautiful disruption from Paz avoids that inevitable Flaming Lasso. They would have gotten in range perfectly, but Paz really, really on point with that disrupt.
Should mention two major items picked up. Lone Druid gets himself an armlet, and at the same time, Alchemist also picks up a Shadow Blade being delivered right now. I heard a roar come out there from Beastmaster. What did that hit? Did he hit a creep with that?
I believe so. I believe that is exactly what they're laughing about. There's nothing really else that would have been pinned in that position, so there you go.
I was like, there's nobody near it. Where did that go?
I bet it's a familiar. I bet he roared a familiar.
Oh, okay, right. That would actually make sense. I mean, they're worth a lot of gold, so you're not planning to get a gank off any time soon. Beastmaster's roar is not that long of a cooldown.
I don't think it was intentional, though. Is the only thing. It was probably an accidental one because they're full HP. There's not really any chance to get it, but one way or another, they'll get that back up in about 45 seconds or so.
Yeah, I mean, the level 1 roar is only like a 2-second stun, so there is that. Templar Assassin, no Blink Dagger, now on the Batrider and the Templar Assassin, so if EG want to make something happen or put some pressure on the map, now is the time, and in fact, if they want to try and I think this is probably a good time to try and shut down the Lifestealer. He's not that tanky, sure he's got Rage, but they have Lasso, and obviously Templar Assassin is not that badly bothered by Magic Immunity, so I think right now is a good time for them to go and hunt and put pressure on the Nates, or even just go and hunt the Bear as well. That's also a good option for them. Of course, Lone Druid, not much he can do to get away if he's pinned down, and if they catch him in the range form, very easy to burst down, very, very squishy.
Yep, but he does have that armor on the bear, so I mean he is farming rapidly as long as he has camps available. Actually, he can pretty much clear out the jungle every single minute and just kind of head back in, no problem at all. But we do see this pressure coming out finally. Jero has that Shadow Blade, wants to put it to work here. Roar back off cooldown, has the mana available for everything here, so he could go in for a big roar and mechanism if they want to fight this in full. But right now, Lifestealer pushing down on the bot lane, and it looks like they're forcing EG back just a little bit, at least for the moment. Their double damage has popped off on Templar Assassin, getting away from the board. Now she can blink in. And going to look for an opportunity here. Illuminate connecting, though, eating into Refraction, but they are going to try to keep this active as long as possible. For right now, Demon, though, wants to use that Aegis, wants to use that Blink, but taking Time Bomb is Black, continuously putting damage on that bottom tier 2 tower, so dropping down to 1100 HP. Yeah, they really got nothing out of that, and instead just put in a lot of time, but falling back is a bit of a feint. Bambo is going to be the one to bait it out. They want them to roar Bambo so they can jump in with this smoke, but at least keep their attention where they go in and try to bring down the lone druid. Right now the bear is attacking, so they know that Quickva has to be within 1200 range, but we'll see if they can actually scout him on out here. Looks like not going to happen. There's going to be the concoction as well as that Shadow Blade coming on through, but not actually going to find a target. Unfortunately, that should be a self-stun Alchemist, yeah. So they get a disruption just to make sure, but all in all, they are going to be just forced on back. Another failed attempt.
Yeah, EG definitely wasting a lot of time here. That said, still ahead on the gold per minute at the moment with Alchemist. Flamebreak being tossed in. They're going to knock things back as it looks like they're going to blink out there as well. Familiar's just going to be sent and harass the bear. The bear, of course, Armlet does do a lot of damage, but it looks like they don't want to engage. EG just said, you know, alright, smokers are up. They know we're here. We're fighting in enemy territory. Let's just back up there as well. Just a small amount of skirmishing, but neither team really wanting to commit there fully.
Yep, not really anything happening. So, honestly, one thing I just realized, First Blood's still on the table. Not even friggin' 15 minutes in the game, and we still haven't gotten a single kill.
I mean, both teams pretty much abandoned their suicide lane, so no easy kills there. And then on top of that, all the support's just saying, you know what, I don't really want to roam, don't really want to fight, I just want to get my items. That's it, keep it light, lots and lots of wards. Going to go for that map control there. He's throwing counter wards all through the mid there. You see tons and tons of counter wards through the mid. Still looking for the enemy wards. Going to throw in some of his own. Will he counter this one here? No, decided not to throw down the counter there on the enemy side. In fact, they don't even see this. They're probably not even aware that they have one scouting their jungle as well. They really want to get these pickoffs in the jungle, just haven't really had an opportunity to go for it.
Yep.
Just looking at Shadow Demon as well. Shadow Demon's actually been given some farm, interestingly enough. I mean, it's not very common you see that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think they might just be waiting there for the arcane boots for him, but we'll see.
Alrighty then, so really the next stage of the game is going to be breaking out rather shortly. The Blink Daggers already came on through. I thought that would be the trigger, but it seems like right now Mouz is kind of shaping up where they want to be together in a group, in a tight unit, and with the defensive disruptions and the potential to go in for roars, I really feel that EG aren't as confident as they would prefer to be as far as jumping on in. If they blink in, it's not necessarily signing your own death warrant, but it is certainly close to it. If you blink under a tower and get roared immediately, you might get one meld strike off, but that's about it. And so I think it's just that Mousesports has a lot of tools to deal with this aggression if they're in the right place at the right time. And so far, other than Black being kind of doing his own thing, the rest of Mousesports have really been on top of that 100%.
I mean, right now, Jared's saying, all right, screw this, just going back to farming. He does have 2,900 gold there in the bank, soon to be 3,000. We'll see what he goes for next. He just bought something up. What is that? It's coming from, oh, it's a hyperstone. Looks like he's going possibly for an assault straight up there. So lots and lots of negative armor going to be coming out of him and Templar Assassin. Acid Spray and the negative armor as well. In fact, he didn't actually finish the Grieval's Greed. He decided to only go for a level 3. Got 2 in Concoction. And then has maxed out the Acid Spray straight away. Really, really wants that negative armor.
Yeah, I mean, you've got Medallion for 6, you've got Meld for 8, you've got the Acid Spray, and then the AC for 5. So Acid Spray is 6 on top of that. It just adds up so quickly that even the most durable of heroes, even the Lone Druid, when he gets his ultimate and Battle Cry up, is still going to be shredded pretty quickly by that physical right-click damage. So they're just kind of going for that niche synergy where they can just make it to so much damage, and then all they have to worry about after that is a Blinding Light. They can go ahead, buy their BKBs, go and also go in for the go in for Monkey King bars later, and they're going to be in a good position to deal with that more directly. Meanwhile, Beastmaster is saving up 2140. Might be picking up the Blink in just a moment if that's the item of choice.
Possibly indeed. I mean, it would give him some good initiation power. Looks like EG, though, just going to clean up a triple stack there of Ancients. Just going to share the experience around a little bit in the gold, but there we go, 600 gold per minute broken at the 18-minute mark for the Alchemist. He really is being allowed to sort of snowball out of control. He should have this off fairly soon, but here comes the first. I'm going to say, if we don't get first blood now for this top lane.
Oh, man. Oh, playing chicken, and they all just fall back. EG not going to defend the towers. TP is 2 staggered on out. Lone Druid picks up the last hit on the tower, but nothing still happening.
I'm going to say right choice to cancel there, indeed. I mean, they probably couldn't see exactly how many enemy heroes were up there, but I'm going to say right choice to cancel in the end, and just going to back out there. So it looks like we won't see the first blood up at the top lane there. as EG decided it is indeed too dangerous to gun for it. Alchemist, so 2200 gold now. Really starting to ramp up there. Visage still working towards the mech at the moment. Meanwhile, what is the bear managed to pick up? He has got a basher as well there, as we see the Necro book. Finally, another Necro book being used in competitive Dota. It's only level 1 at the moment, but Beastmaster's going to be carrying that around, so he decided, you know what, let's get the T-Point / push potential. Not too worried about setting up the initiations. We'll just let them, because I mean, right now they're probably going to have Batrider come to them anyway, and / Templar Assassin with those blinks. And also should mention that, again, Demon going for the early Daedalus.
Yeah. Daedalus has a lot of potential there if he is able to jump on in and just really get a lucky crit on a Meld Strike especially, then you're going to be able to tear in through one person really quickly. A support, you'll one-shot. A more durable hero, a core hero, you're going to get a couple, like a good chunk of their HP gone. Maybe half, maybe a third. Really depends on what stage of the game we're talking here. But it's going to be harder as the opponents get more durable. As we see the armlet, of course, on the bear, that's going to be very tanky. And on top of that, the Lifestealer is going to get some strength items pretty soon. Already has his standard phase drum and armlet, and now is actually coring up a Yasha to presumably move in towards an SMY.
Definitely possible. Anyway, so this game brought to you by Zynga. Farmville extraordinaire. We're going to have the assault finished up at 20 minutes.
Wow.
We have a Shadowblade Assault Midas for the for the Alchemist. That is definitely one hell of a farm. And like we were talking about, that negative armor, I think if they're going to make a move, now is the time, because they can cause so much havoc with this. Especially, actually, well, I'm going to say this though. I'm going to say this for Mouse Sports. They have thrown out a lot of counter wards. They are expecting the Shadowblade, and they are fully prepared to defend against it. The wards down the mid, they've got the wards up top. They've got the counter ward down here in the bottom room. I think this is more for getting rid of enemy wards than anything else. Not quite within range, in fact. Seeing EG have thrown their ward a little back. In fact, they're going to counter ward as well. EG, though, looks like they're going to gun for another Roshan kill before they get stuck in here. Meanwhile, the Beastmaster going to roll around. I'm just wondering if he's going to send the Hawk to scout. Really does need to send that one in there. They sort of go to counter ward, and they decide not to. I think they decide, you know what, if we destroy this counter ward, it's going to give the game away. They change their mind, though. They're going to come in here. We're going to have Mouseboards come in, throws the Wild Axes in. There we go. Looks like Roshan's almost down. Blinding Light comes down. So we're going to get the stun from the Familiar in there. He drops the double stun. They're going to manage to snag the Aegis there on Alchemist. Now the Roar comes in, going to catch Demon. Demon, they're going to be okay. He's going to have the minions, though, working their way on Demon. Demon actually losing health rapidly. Will be brought down in the end there. Wild Axe is going to finish him off. There's the first blood at the 21-minute mark. At long last, they managed to pick up a kill. Bambo, though, now in some serious trouble. Going to get brought down by the bear. The Roots proc. Firefly is launched, but it's not going to help. He gets brought down. 2 kills there for Mouse Sports. And the Aegis also being procced there. Alchemist is down, but can he get stuck back in? The bear also has that basher. Could go to work him. Illuminate comes through once again. The blinding light going to be used to knock him back. The slow being used very effectively. Bambo comes in now, throws in the flaming concoction. It's not going to be enough though. Flame break's not going to be enough. Jaro trying to work his way out. Gets rooted once again. A triple kill coming in here for against EG, as well as the fourth one, and also brought in there as well. Lone Druid snagging one of his own. And it looks like they are going to finally get that one in there. So they're going to charge up here. Probably get the tier 2, because, I mean, we've got 35 seconds there on Alchemist. That should be enough space for Mousebots to push in and get a tower.
Certainly, especially with the Demolish passive. My goodness, was that a good fight for Mousebots. I couldn't believe my eyes when Black actually escaped out of it. They popped off the Fiend's Grip and the Flaming Lasso on Black simultaneously. He dropped down to 100 HP inside Acid Spray, but he was disrupted by Pause. MVP disruptions right here. He survives, he armlet toggles away and walks on out of there. No problem, just shrugs it off. And in the meantime, we see Bash, like RNGG'd, Koigava, whether the Bash Lord or the Root Gaming, whatever you want to call it, he got so many great procs off, stunning out a Visage and entangling him up, and then immediately going over and doing the exact same thing to Alchemist. They just cleaned house with that fight. And it was, I mean, some of it was luck. A lot of it was just great movement there. I was a little bit disappointed that Fata didn't micro in his Hawk to get some good vision in the pit to actually prevent the Roshan itself. But they got the ultimate on Demon. They burned through him twice. The first blood was the Aegis carrier. So that was, yeah, really just patient, methodical, but very, very effective. And Mouse doesn't lose a single soul in that entire engagement.
This looks like Batrider, though, has his ult up once again. It looks like they're getting ready to try and jump somebody here. I think they're getting ready for a smoke. There we go, smoking up. Pain Train is formed, and they're going to try and charge in here and pick off, well, they actually don't know if they're going to get anything. They're going to try and charge in here, swing around past the Radiant Ancients, and try and pick somebody off. One of the biggest limiting factors, though, of course, is the fact that they can't scout it ahead very effectively, so they can't really plan these ganks that easily, whereas the comparatively, Mouse Sports could just send the Hawk out to set up these smoke gangs. But there's the pings. I think they know something's wrong. Or is that the dire ping? I'm not dead sure what's going on there. I think the Radiant, though, they know something's up. They've lost sight of EG, and they've got the wards up as well, so they know... Like, see these aggressive wards at the mid, they know something's up. They can't see anybody anywhere. They know somebody must be trying to smoke gank, although that said, if they know that, it looks like Beastmaster doesn't even care. He's just going to push up here anyway.
Yeah, just moving around. There's going to be a lasso up the cliff. This could be the death of Black right here. Unstable Concoction comes off through. Fiend's Grip locks him in place, and that will be a cool kill. Demon jumping on in. The Ghost Scepter pops off from Cinderin, though. Man, that Keeper Light farming up in that very, very large bloodless period. Anyways, Demon's going to pop off that meld. And, yeah, unfortunately not picking up the Keeper Light. Instead, just cleaning up a little bit there. The Bear gets the kill on the Familiar, but Demon gets the kill on the Bear. Actually going to go the way of Visage, getting an extra 100 gold bounty, moving in towards that mechanism, and only 120 gold. So, great position for them to be in. But unlike Mouse Sports, I don't think they can actually get a tower out of this. They're going to go for the tier 1 here. Actually, no. Lifestealer will be taking his time coming back on into it, so they should be able to take the tier 1. But obviously not the tier 2. So, in this position here, Acid Spray, right clicks, they will be able to take it away. And Bambo getting disrupted up. He doesn't have much mana to work with. Can still Magic Wand, Blink Dagger, but there's the Demonic Purge. There's the Illuminate. A lot of damage coming out through. He gets bursted immediately, and Jo, all they can do is throw out that Unstable Concoction before falling back himself.
Indeed, he will back up there. He's got 2,300 gold in the bank there. We'll see what he goes for next. I almost just want to see a Basher just to help deal with the lifesteal. He's got such an attack speed during his ultimate phase. I think it really will help lock down that lifesteal and prevent him from just feasting away on everybody's health. So it looks like, though, the Radiant, it looks like Mouse Sports are getting ballsy here. They're looking for a potential kill. Fear and possibly some trouble. No. Black just going to content himself just snagging the creep that he was trying to farm there with the Midas. And I think they might just go for a tier 2 up in the top lane and see if the Dire decide to defend this.
So, yeah, putting the pressure out here. The Hawk in a good position to kind of move in forward and see exactly what's going on, but they have a pretty good perspective. I mean, Demon the only one to kind of surprise people with blinks. They do get a big Illuminate going across. Enfeeble up on the Bear, taking a lot of hits. Actually, look at that armor. Drop down to 0, taking pure damage from any physical auto attack, and now Demon coming in and doing a little bit of side blade harassment. Necronomicon, though, working its way towards the tower. Can they bring it down? Jo takes some pure damage from that last will of the melee Necronomicon minion, but still staying active, punching away, and actually getting the deny on the tower. So they clean it up. Mouse Sports losing a little bit of their gold momentum as they were hoping to get twice as much from that as what they acquired.
Indeed, it looks like we're going to see a port down to the bottom lane there to stave off. Well, I mean, I assume we're going to see a port. I think they want to give us away. There we go. It looks like Lone Drill will port down here and defend this bottom tower. Just make sure they don't give away any free damage that they have to. Meanwhile, has Alchemist committed to his next item? No, not just yet. Still deciding where to go with it. We'll see what he has in mind. Again, still really want to see that Basher. And meanwhile, it looks like, there we go. There it is. There's the Basher. Decides to buy up. And in fact, oh, hang on a minute. At some point in there, it looks like the Radiant lost their courier. I didn't notice that.
Yeah, that was I think a little bit ago. But yeah, that's going to be respawning shortly. But the big thing here is what it had on top of it. 2 Necronomicon recipes for Fata. He would have had a Necro 3 on that top fight. Instead, it was just a Necro 1, and they just immediately pummeled that down with no trouble at all. So now the Necro 3 is up. It's a great aura. Has some true sight for the Shadow Blade and Meld. And they're in a great position there. Along with that, Koikova going to be able to move in towards that AC very, very quickly. As far as the Bear, I was looking at it before. It does have the Hyperstone, and it is going to be picking up the AC in just a little bit here. As far as his gold cash value, actually, it looks like it's complete. Yeah, he 100% has the AC. It had just enough time to farm it up. So in this position, kind of equaling out. Both teams receiving +5 and -5 from the AC of each other's teams. So kind of neutralizes that, but of course it provides a lot of attack speed for both the Spirit Bear and that of the Alchemist, which of course will be very devastating, especially when Alch hits his level 16 and only has a 1.0 base attack time with Chemical Rage active.
I like the use of Familiars here being used to scout out. Find the Hawk, managed to bring it down there. Also, something I'd like to see as well is I'm going to say I would like to see a Vladimir's offering come out on the Radiant side just to help. It'll help Lifesteal, it'll help Lone Druid, and just all flat out damage. I mean, like you said, it's the Aura Master there coming out from the Beastmaster. Getting that Vladimir's offering on him, it's not only going to give them lots of extra armor, but at the same time, the extra damage next to Lifesteal is really going to benefit all of the heroes, all the primary heroes on his team. Meanwhile, though, the Daedalus on Templar Assassins, a lot of bonus damage there, and as well as the fact that Alchemist, again, still buying up some pretty nasty items. I mean, he's up to 1,300 gold again. I think he might I just wonder if he's going to go all the way, just straight up go all the way to an Abyssal. I think he could actually go for a defensive item now, to be dead honest.
Yeah, unfortunately,
that said, he doesn't...
Like, there's not that many great defensive items from him. BKB is obviously not going to do too much from there, so other than Heart, I can't really imagine what would fall under that category.
I honestly don't know if he wants a hard, just because, to be honest, you don't really want to buy that one that badly against a lifesteal. I
Yeah.
mean, it's one of the. If anything,
Halberd.
I think if he's. Yeah, Halberd would be really good, or even then. I mean,
Ooh,
if you're strapped
Nakes
for
on a
items to
plane.
buy-
They got infested Nakes inside the Hawk. They can go in for a gank coming from the high ground.
Makes it a play. I love it. I love it. But yeah, I mean, if you're out of items to buy, you really don't know what to get. I mean, you can never have too many hexes. Let's be honest.
She's going in the base. What the hell? Black going on in deep. They're going to get the roar on Jo here. They have detection through the Necro 3. Burn it down quickly, but there is that. Oh, Jo's still going to fall. The Low Druid cleaning it up here. Now that ultimate has ended from the Bane. He's not able to Fiend's Grip any further, and still, they just clean it up. That was not an initiation they were prepared for whatsoever. And Mouse Sports forced 2 buybacks before heading out themselves, and they might actually get out of this without any recompense at all.
Wow, I've got to say, that's going to be a really ballsy initiation. Probably might even lose Fear as well. Fear taking a ton of damage. Fear goes down the throat on the side trap as well. Not giving up a triple kill here for Black. Black has been absolutely wrecking them. Pretending his Bambo, deciding to make it happen. Charges in there and completely shreds him. There goes Bane once again. Bane just brought back. This could actually be a tier 3 in a Rax at the moment. The bear is still in the fight, still chewing away at the tower. It has been resummoned though, so this is the last bear he's got available for a full 2 minutes. Meanwhile, the Familiar's trying to get stuck in, trying to stave this off. I don't know if they can manage it though. They've got the stuns up in 2 seconds. Might be able to slow them down just enough. No, oh my god, the Demolish completely ruins that Rax. The minions are not enough there from not come with me. In fact, from Fear, they're not enough to stave that off. And now the concoction thrown out. It's a very short. Oh, doesn't even land there. As Black just rages up.
Looking for Lasso. I don't know. I think he can try. If he went for it, the roar would be back up and he would be dropped down. It was just so sad because, like, forlornly looking, Jo and Demon and Bambo just have to watch the Rax fall. They can't do anything about that because Mouz are still up and fighting. They have short cooldowns. They have active right clicks, and yeah, that was just devastating how they were able to initiate of that. A little creative, a little awesome, and they set it up. So they got a number of great kills, forced how many 2 buybacks, and of course took the Rax, which is just a commanding lead now that they have 10k gold and 14k experience advantage. And now Desolator on lifesteal on top of that, so answering back a little bit of that armor play.
I mean, yeah, they wouldn't have even really expected the fact that Nakes was going to leap out of the Hawk, like, because you see the Hawk coming in the base, sure, it's being revealed by the tower, you think, oh yeah, he's just scouting out on the high ground while the Creeper pushing the tower, but no, bam! Out jumps Nakes, just lights everything up, and of course just immediately rages, so there's not a whole lot you could do about it to try and shut him down. Sure, they had the Bane, but that said, Bane didn't get the lockdown there quickly enough, and to be dead honest, they were probably, to be honest, their screens were probably not on their heroes. They were probably looking further down the lane, trying to figure out where the opponents were.
I'm gonna see it again.
Looking for them. Yeah. I might just check that later on the replay and see exactly what was going on. But yeah, there we go. As you said, Nake's on a plane. The Hawk gonna just scout out, look for a free kill here, see if they can find something. But yeah, EG in a bit of a bad spot here. This is it. This is probably the gold side that Mouse need to get ahead of that Alchemist and stay ahead.
Yeah. Very difficult position. We do see the Courier bringing out Helm of Dominator so they can steal the Necronomicon Warrior. Pretty big there if they can take the melee one back. But they're going to have to coordinate it very carefully in this next engagement. We are going to see Bambo go for the lasso, picking up on top of the Beastmaster, trying to burn him down. Concoction, nice disruption from Paz. Locks him in. Beastmaster still half HP. Will get off all his spells right here. Burning down Jo hardcore. Doing so much damage across. The roar comes out on B-Diz. They clean this up. Demon can't even use the Dominator. Just so much damage going across. They actually do pick it up. There is that Necronomicon for themselves, but it costs him his life as he's demonic purged up, open wounds up. He is dropped down. Double kill for Beastmaster. Oh my gosh, what a disruption. Oh my gosh, is Beastmaster going to die to his own thing? No. But still, the disruption from the Shadow Demon, that was ridiculously perfect timing from him. Just exactly what the doctor ordered, and they clean this up. Not even worried about Roche now. They take the tier 3. They're going to go for the Rax.
I'm going to say clutch play there from Pass indeed. The GG is called, and rightly so. This game is pretty much over. No way they could defend this Rax. Their buybacks, I think, are still... Yeah, their buybacks are still down for the most part as well. Not even able to get stuck back in there. So, that was very well done from Mouse Sports. And the question is, Mouse Sports, they've been going from strength to strength. But the question is, do they have what it takes to bring down Alliance, of course. Alliance, #1 in the world right now, I'd say, without a doubt.
Yeah. So that's going to be a very, very rough matchup for them. I'm actually, as far as scheduling, we'll have to talk with the main admin for that because I'm not sure if we're going to postpone until a future date or if we're going to continue it out. Obviously, there were some delays with the fact that we did go through with that 90-plus minute game. So that adds up, of course. But still, this game to see 100% No question about it. Paz gets my MVP for this one here. Of course, 2-0 and 8 Shadow Demon as a whole is great, but the fact that he was able to get so many perfect disruptions, saves an ally, it disrupts the Bat Rider up on the top lane as a clutch play, disrupts the Lifestealer defensively when he has 2 ultimates on him, locking him down, and then just then with the Beastmaster, saving Safata can turn it around with his Mech Necro and get the ultimate off and just completely turn things around. Oh my goodness, what a player. Paz is able to just, in my opinion, take that game away. But of course, Mouz as a whole playing very nicely and sending EG down to what can be considered a lower bracket. It's going to be a 3rd or 4th place decider coming up in a little bit. I think that's, as far as the schedule goes, that's what we would do before the grand finals. But we do have to communicate and figure out exactly what's coming up next. Anyways, that was an awesome game. Only 32 minutes, 38 seconds, 13-1. Mouz Sports, after a very, very quiet time period, jump on in to just completely obliterate EG and just a handful of fights. So really nicely done. And looking forward to see what they bring to the table up against the Lions. Going to be a very rough match for them, but I definitely think that they have the potential for it, individually and as a team. So going to be a good game. But for right now, thank you guys so much for tuning on into the Premier League Season 5 Reaver Cup. This has been the final semifinal match between Mouz Sports and EG, and of course Mouz Sports take it away, and we'll advance on forward. So thanks for tuning on in. We'll be going on and bring you guys some more Dota action in just a little bit. I'll update you guys with the schedule as soon as I know about it myself. So see you guys in the next one. Thanks for tuning in.